Valuation and account determination demo. There are several influencing factors in the valuation account determination. Every company code will be assigned to a set of chart of accounts, or actually every company will have only one chart of account. And you also have valuation areas. Either the valuation area can be a plant or at the company code level. In this example, the valuation area is at the plant level. So you can group several plants to a one single valuation grouping code. Okay. For the materials, will be assigned to a valuation area. Materials will also have a material type. So each valuation area will be assigned to a valuation class, and material types can be assigned to a value string, and depending on the transaction code, they'll be assigned an account grouping code. So if you go to the second slide here, okay, so there are several ways. So the more you can go more granular or at a more higher level. So you can do, that means if you do not have a valuation class, if you do not have an account grouping code, if you do not have a valuation grouping code, okay, so every transaction in this case BSX is an inventory movement will go to the same GL account all the time for all the materials. Okay, so if you put in a valuation class, for example, and if you don't have these two, so the BSX will, you can have multiple GL accounts for multiple valuation classes. Okay, that's the in a nutshell. But for every single plant, for every single account grouping, you will have the same set of GL accounts. But if you have valuation grouping, valuation modifier, that means you can modify, let's say, plant 1000 to one GL account, plant 1100 to another GL account. So you can have, depending on the modifier, you can have multiple GL accounts. And the account grouping code really is for the movement types. For different movement types, you can derive different GL accounts. So the combination of these things will give you a lot of granularity how accounts are determined in the materials management. Let's go take a look at it. The valuation account determination is right here in the materials management and account determination. So you go straight into account determination. You go into account determination without wizard. Okay, and then here define the valuation control. Here this you have a valuation grouping code is active in this instance, and you can group together different valuation areas. So in this particular example, valuation area 1000, 1100, 1200, 13, all these are going to the same valuation grouping code. So they will all be determined using just one valuation group. But you can have a different company code going to different valuation grouping code. And then you have to define the valuation classes. So valuation classes are basically assigned to the materials, right? Valuation classes are always in the, whenever you create a material, you create the valuation class in the particular material. And also you can also assign the material types here to the account reference. We just saw right here in our prior slide. Right? So different material types can be assigned to the account reference strings. I'll go back to the slide here. So, for example, all these different material types, ROH, HIBE, PIP, COMP, are assigned to account category reference 001, and you can assign the account category reference to the valuation class. So, depending on the account type and depending on the account category reference, the system determines the, you can assign that to a valuation class that in turn determines your GL accounts. So in this case, the account material type spare parts is assigned to account reference 003. Okay, account reference 003 for spare parts, and he will see here you're creating the valuation classes here. Valuation class 3000, valuation class 00, valuation class 3040 is assigned to account grouping 003 for spare parts, and this valuation class will be assigned to all materials which belong to that particular spare parts. And you can also do account grouping for movement types. So different movement types will have different account modifiers. So if you look at this particular example, so movement type 261 will have account grouping VBR, movement type 551 will have account grouping VNG, movement type 702 will have account grouping INV. So depending on the different movement types, you can assign different account modifiers, and you can use these account modifiers in the configuration to derive different accounts for different movement types. So go to configure automatic account determination postings to a cancel, and go to account assignment, and look at the inventory for inventory postings BSX and chart of accounts INT. Here we are not using whole lot of things. We're only using the valuation classes. I can enable the rules. Here only the valuation class is enabled. I'm not enabling the valuation modifier at this point. I'm only using the valuation class. So for different valuation classes, I'm getting different GL accounts in this example. I'm not using anything else. So for any inventory postings, only this rule applies. I'm not using the valuation modifier. I'm not using the account grouping. I'm not using account cross reference. So I'm not using any other types of modifiers. I'm only using valuation class in this example. Okay? And when you create the material, you put 3,000 in the material, and that determines your 300,000 example. And let's say I'm going to go to another inventory postings. For example, I can go to GBB, offsetting entry for inventory posting GBB, for example. Okay, here we are using many different types of modifiers. You're using the valuation modifier, using the valuation class. You're also using the general modifier or the account grouping here. So for example, for valuation 001 and account grouping AUA, valuation class 7900, you're determining 89,500. But for a different general modifier, you can determine a different GL account, such as, I'm just gonna copy this one here. So determining a different GL account. So this could be one movement type, and this could be a different movement type. Okay, so I'm right now by changing the movement type, by changing the valuation class, I'm changing the account that is being derived behind the scenes. Let's go see what is AUA. I'm going to go into materials, go into valuation. I'm going to go into the account determination without a wizard. I'm going to go into configure. I'm going to go into the account grouping for movement types. Okay, I'm going to go into position. Into account modifier. It's not here. Okay. So account modifier is AUA. Let's see, AUA, AUF. Let's look at something else. Let's do like a VBR or something like that. Okay, let's do VBR. For example, yeah, VBR for valuation class 9720. Yeah, one GL account for the same VBR, different valuation class, different GL accounts. Okay, what is VBR? VBR is height to movement type 262. If movement type is 262, then yeah, you determine the different movement types. I'm not going to save the data. Go to configure automatic posting. So I'm just going to cancel. Maybe I'll switch back here. So depending on the value modifier, general modifier, valuation class, you can either choose a debit or credit. And at any given time, you can change the rules for this particular transaction GBP. So all the things are being checked. General modifier is checked, valuation modifier is checked, valuation class is checked. So you have an option to either grow higher level or lower level. So at the very basic, you turn on the valuation classes, but you don't have to do these two. But you can also turn on, so you get more granularity for different things, right? And then now if you get in the accounts, you get to this screen. Okay. And you can also look at the procedures. You go back to the procedures, and these are all the transaction types. For different transaction types, I mean, the chart of account definitely is the default. Client is definitely default. But if you go back to this particular slide here, you can see, you click on these two are pretty much standard. You click on BSX, WRX, PRD, and then you can choose this one. You can choose these three variables if you want them or not. And obviously, you want to have a debit and a credit for sure. Okay. So by playing around with this thing, these two are optional. Definitely, I mean, you got to have something, some valuation class. You don't want to put every material into one single account. So you want to at least have this valuation class, and you can also do more granularity by changing these two valuation modifier and account grouping codes. Okay, let me just recap this thing, like maybe in an Excel sheet or something like that. So I have chart of accounts, and then I have transaction, and I have valuation modifier and account grouping, and then I have valuation class, and then I have a debit, and then I have a credit, right? Right. So my chart of account is always going to be the same thing. Let's say I don't care, means all company codes, all plans, all material types will always go to this account. That's the debit, and again that's the credit. So it's the simplest form of account determination. Everything will go to only one single account. Nothing. So someone says, hey, no, I wanted to do different valuation classes, different GL accounts. Okay, so valuation class 3000, valuation class 3010, 3020, 3030. What is 3000? 3000 could be your raw materials. You know, your 3010 could be finished products. Okay, 3020 could be semi-finished products, and your 3030 could be, you know, something else like office supplies, something like that. Okay, so now you can do like this. Okay, so different GL accounts for different valuation classes. Got it? Okay, but now my valuation area is at the plant level. So every single plant is doing this thing. Is exactly doing this thing. I don't have any other say. So now you want to say, okay, plant 1000, okay, needs to go different GL account. Plant 1100, you know, let's say plant 1100. Let's do this. Plants 2000 and 2100. Okay, so this is just a plant here. These two should derive one GL account. Okay, so my modifier here is 0001, and this could be 001, and this could be 0002. This could be 0002. Okay, so now I have valuation modifiers here. I have different valuation modifiers, right? Yeah. So now what I can do is for valuation modifier 1, okay, do this. Valuation modifier 2, do this. Got it? It's going into different accounts. Okay, so now I want to do is, if it is movement type 221, movement type 221, I want to go to a different account. Okay, so I'm going to do is take this guy. So all the movement types will go to this, but there is account modifier called, I don't know, let's say AUF. Okay, we'll go to 5600 and 6000, and then AUF now is tied to movement type 221. So all other movement types, the 1000 will get that, but only this movement type will get that. Okay, so you create everything in a spreadsheet like this, and then go to configure automatic account determination, do a cancel, do account assignment, and then go to that particular transaction that you want. Click on INT, go to the rules, click on the modifier, okay, and then go to accounts, and then now you'll see, okay, now you'll see that valuation modifier now in there if you turn the rules on. Okay. And then you can start posting the rules. Okay. You can start creating it. So, again, when you change it, it's going to delete everything. You change the valuation modifier. Let's go to GBB, whatever, GBB. So now here everything is turned on. Valuation modifier, general modifier, valuation class, and debits and credits. Everything is turned on. Okay. You go to rules. Everything is turned on, and then valuation class goes in the material, right? Yeah. Evaluation area tied to evaluation grouping, and then these are the different things that are happening in the system, and then you go create your automatic account information. Okay. Basically, this is how the kind of the system works. You look at the spreadsheet, so less granularity means everything, only one line, everything going to the same single account regardless. Okay, and then you have this transaction, right? So all these things are now for GBB. Okay, I forgot this thing. Everything is for GBB. Now you can have everything for something else, right? WRX, something like that. And then this one can't be going to the same thing. You can do now to 200,000, something like that. Something like that. Okay. So different transaction types, different valuation modifiers, different account groups will enrich the capability of pushing this into multiple GL accounts in a nutshell.